lose streak against G2. Corelli, do you think they can snap this as well?
Can lightning strike twice? I don't think it's impossible for FaZe. We heard the analysts, and I don't think they're incredibly wrong. I don't think a FaZe pick here is a bad one. But with the way G2's been playing, especially with the defense, I love that Gibbs pointed it out because that's exactly where I was going to go. G2's defense with an offense that has been up and down from FaZe, with an offense that we know can be one of the strongest in the world. They're going to have to bring that top tier performance from FaZe if they're going to take down G2 because the defense, let alone the offense, is just too good from G2 at the moment.
And if you think back to the highlight plays, we saw some crazy shots from FaZe. There was the 1-2-3 team passing play, the redirect from Typical. It's going to have to be a team effort offensively from FaZe. But First Killer, we have seen him throw up some numbers, but the teamwork from G2 is what has set them apart.
And they have taken down FaZe quite a bit, as you said. FaZe are 1-4 against G2 this season. They have won 7 out of the 25 games that these two teams have played in total. And so the record is not in FaZe's favor, but as you said, they've taken down NRG. They've taken down one of their demons. Can they do it here against G2?
A first minute, come and gone, no goals. JNaps underneath the ball, but gets hit downfield. First Killer, a high lob, AJ up, atomic low boost, gets in front of it, and JNaps will clear it downfield. Tons of time for First Killer. First Killer, it's AJ to jump. Hard ball for Typical. Typical collecting. JNaps up to Atomic. Atomic hard off the ceiling. It's bouncing down. Chicago with the 50. You see First Killer again.
Uh-oh.
And he gets shut down. JNaps wasting no time on that challenge.
Challenge game certainly going in the favor of G2 right now, and you're kind of seeing them play around the midfield line. That one's off the post for JNaps, and he comes through with the shot. It took almost 2 minutes, but G2 score the first goal.
And you saw the confusion there. Typical and AJ running into each other, and the ball leaking out into the middle. A tough break defensively there for FaZe. Bit of a lapse, and that's enough for G2 to take the lead.
And so what I was about to say for G2 was with the way they've been playing on the midfield line, they're letting FaZe have these poor clears that just trickle out to JNaps. They've trickled out to Chicago, and then they've won those crucial challenges to keep the offense going. And it's created a very panicked scenario many times over for FaZe just to break out. You're seeing, again, a hard-won challenge, a hard hit from the midfield line that's allowing G2 to keep this offense going, and they're getting 1, 2, 3 touches with several different players, and you can see FaZe all having to react at the same time.
And that has haunted FaZe at times, that confusion on the back line. And it haunted them early here as the halfway point is just hit. JNaps going for a double. JNaps doubles it, but it's over to the FaZe corner. Typical launches onto the boost, and now center ball. AJ takes over. But possession given up. Atomic baits in one and then booms it downfield.
That's a great touch from Atomic. He knew he was going to lose possession there in the end, but just to get over that first man. Here comes FaZe back the other way. Maybe a second touch. First Killer. That one's going to go wide. AJ thought he might have had a challenge there, but instead, Atomic back the other way. Here he comes off the back wall. Doesn't get a second touch. JNaps taking out First Killer, and FaZe are able to get out.
And it looked like Typical was trying to get a touch there, but it just bounced past his car. Defense still a problem so far for FaZe, but still within one. JNaps. Great speed at the midfield. Typical, the tip forward. Atomic, very confident, letting that ball bounce off the backboard. Now a 1-2 play, 2 go from FaZe. First Killer back out to Typical, and Typical will boom it downfield, and JNaps with the back pass will give possession back to G2.
Yeah, exactly that. You're seeing too many times now FaZe just trying to get out. They throw possession back to G2. Even if it's all the way to the G2 goal line, it really doesn't help FaZe. It bought them time, but you know G2's coming straight back towards your net.
G2 has been having a majority of the possession this game. Lots of time in FaZe's half, and that double tap shut down Chicago. Leaving that ball, looking for a bumper or demo, didn't find either, and that gives AJ space for the air dribble. AJ stopped by Atomic, but Atomic out of boost. First Killer, the shot off the bar out, and now the shot again off the bar. FaZe walk away without a goal.
They need one here, and another chance. First Killer's going to have to back off. Almost 30 seconds left here in this game. Those were the best chances that FaZe have. Maybe even the only chances that they've seriously had contending pressure on the G2 side. And for G2, that fourth man coming in huge. The net.
And the crossbar.
And the crossbar. The net extra small here for FaZe at the moment. There's a double commit from G2, but they come out nicely with it. JNaps to the back wall as AJ clears it away.
Strong challenge from Chicago. First killer to the air, back to the ground. Rebound to Stipical. Stipical's shot will be blocked. First killer, first touch, was able to control it, lobs it towards net. Stipical will be able to catch this. Nice challenge from JNaps. Still ball kept in play. Chicago with the challenge. First killer can get back in time.
Oh, and great deny there from JNaps. And again, the challenge game coming through for G2 to end the game. You thought maybe FaZe was going to keep it up a little bit longer. G2 coming out on top. And for FaZe, I think a little bit of a disappointment there with the quality chances they had near the end of this game. It should have at least been tied up.
And there's a little bit of silver lining, though, in the fact that they were having those looks. They had multiple good chances that they could have put away. And I guess the not so silver lining is the finishing. FaZe not able to put that in. The one goal that we saw, JNaps bouncing that one off the post and in. FaZe matching up nicely against G2, although G2 did have a ton of the possession, Corelli.
Yeah, and I think, the thing that I touched on earlier, it was the progression from FaZe. Like, they didn't do a good job of holding onto the ball from their own goal side all the way to the G2 side. If they were to boom it downfield and then gain possession in the final third, then you saw that offense going. You're seeing a typical put shots on. You saw First Killer put shots on. But that only came at the end of the game where I think FaZe started to figure out that they can't just boom the ball away. G2's too good, and the only thing you've bought is time. The progression downfield didn't really matter. G2 comes right back and beats the first man every single time.
And one of the ways that FaZe is so deadly is when that ball is kicked back to them and they can take possession, pop it up, and man, an early shot and an early goal. FaZe, they got shut out last game, only taking 7 seconds to score in game 2.
Wow. What a second touch there from First Killer. And this time, Stipical gets all of it. That sweet spot corner on the car to the left side. Beautifully struck by Stipical. He's not going to miss that one. 7 seconds in. FaZe finding 4. Oh, my.
It looked like Chicago might be able to get his car back under control, but so we take another look. It goes right back to Stipical. Yeah,
he landed on the bounce and just went a little bit too far. Tough to react. He would just pass the ball, so he couldn't stop his momentum in time to get back to the ball, and unfortunately looks a little goofy there in the end. But he certainly could have gotten back and made the save.
And maybe if he was in a Merc or a Nomad, both lovely cars, and amazing hitboxes as well, might have been able to make that stop, but wasn't able to do it. Now 2 early goals for FaZe. JNaps, nice feed.
That's the dream start here, I think, for FaZe. You were talking about a silver lining, and proving to yourself that you can put on the pressure. G2 is one thing. Typical coming alive is maybe another for FaZe Clan. That's the player that you want hot. And right now, 3-0 start in the first minute. FaZe running away with it.
Typical, never letting go of boost. And that is a quick hat trick, Corelli. 41 seconds. Typical has 3.
3 for 3. My goodness. And for Typical, we were just criticizing the shooting in the last game. Here he is in this game, putting that criticism to rest. 3 for 3, first minute in. And right now it's on G2. How do they adapt? Because when FaZe is hot, they're a tough team to beat. They're one of the best teams in the world for a reason. And right now, we're really going to see something from G2. How do they adapt to this type of pressure when you're down 3 goals this early in a game?
AJ with some space, went for the pass to First Killer. Now a lob downfield. And Corelli, you're right. This is such a response from FaZe against G2, showing some life. And I mean, you were rattling off the numbers before. This matchup has not been in favor of FaZe. But when they can find their offense, things tend to work out well for them. Another shot coming in from Typical. This time it's blocked by G2.
Still great pressure here from FaZe, and they're forcing G2 with the poor clears this time over to Typical. Unfortunately, didn't really pan out with first killer coming across, but you can see FaZe definitely taking a more conservative approach on offense now. They're keeping the last man further back, not having to push so hard. They know that really they're their own worst enemy at this point in this game. And G2 do break the pressure from FaZe here, but not for long, as it's right back into possession for FaZe.
And really, looking at this series offensively from the perspective of G2, the only goal they got was off a double commit and a team pump. That one almost finding the upper 90. But G2 has been struggling to find their offense. They haven't really generated any scoring chances purely from infield passes that we've seen so often from G2.
Singular shot here in this game so far from G2. It was Atomic. Maybe one here brewing. It's JNaps lobbing it over to Chicago, who also plays it off the ceiling. And now first killer, full boost, wants the solo play himself. Flip reset one, went for two. AJ there on the follow-up. As FaZe, very smart to just back off. You don't have to press too hard here. AJ kind of recoups and goes back into the challenge to make it tough for G2 to break out.
And pretty telling that first killer was able to have that much space with a full tank of boost and able to go for that double flip reset. And now more space for first killer, delaying the flip reset, gets the bump and the corner boost steal. FaZe mounting an attack. Typical. He's got three. Can he get four? No. JNaps knocks it aside.
Probably his toughest shot yet there from Typical, but he went up uncontested. Nobody from G2 was there. They were just kind of shadowing the play. But that's scary to leave a FaZe player with open space like that. They're lucky it was such a tough shot where Typical couldn't generate power. As G2 now, time ticking away, a minute 20 left on the clock, and they're down by 3 still.
Oh, first killer hitting that back into JNaps, and now gets a nice bounce of light touch from AJ. Rebound is Typical. That's his fourth of the game.
4 for 7, 7 shots in this game. AJ wants the angle there, but just off the back of the wall, and G2 just so spread out. You're seeing, I think, FaZe, I think they're teaching themselves right now how to play this offense against G2, because whatever it is working. 4-0 right now with Typical popping off is a dream scenario. How about AJ? No, it's off the crossbar. First killer trying to slow it down. Chicago will clear it away.
So AJ's shots have been going a little high, but I mean, at this point, if you're trying to make a prediction, a line that would be interesting is who's going to score more goals this series, Typical or G2?
Right now, it's certainly Typical. G2
One
hitting
goal
on 2 shots.
And now another shot. That one will be saved by Atomic. Offensively, G2 has been shut down and shut out. Approaching the final 30 seconds.
Oh, no.
JNaps having to panic touch that one.
He's lucky Typical didn't have boost to go after. Here's AJ. Did he get a flip reset off that? I don't think so, as the defense eat it up and clear it out. And with less than 20 seconds to go, G2 stunned here in game 2. FaZe. This is one of their strongest offensive showings that we've seen against a team like G2. And boy, the real question is, can they keep this up? This consistency is hard to hold. And against a team like G2, you know G2 is going to go back to the drawing board and think about this one for at least the next 50 seconds here as we wait for the next game.
And you wonder what kind of adjustments G2 is going to come out with. They were barely keeping their head above water, and Typical dismantled them. You saw the ceiling double tap pass from first killer. That was a great pass, but multiple just solo plays from Typical, doing work all on his own, generating those goals. And when you have more players than first killer, we know what he can do. We've seen what Typical could do in the past, and this is the level of gameplay that Typical can bring to a team. In game 2, he was lights out for FaZe.
Yeah, 15 shots to 3 in favor of FaZe here, and for good reason. You said, what can G2 do? And I think it really is actually slowing down the game, bringing the ball down into their possession, and finding some control for themselves, even out from their defensive third, because again, they did the same thing that FaZe was doing in game 1, where they would just blow the ball down the field and give possession away. I think G2 did that quite a bit. There were a lot of like stretching type of passes that came out that made it tough for people to hold possession. So I think G2 just need to calm down. I think FaZe kind of put him in the mixer there for a little bit. And Typical was there to clean up a lot of the shots, but it's a new game, and you know that G2 is not going down without a fight.
Certainly, we've seen G2 be down, but they're never out until that last whistle blows. AJ to the sidewall. A hard hit off the ground. Atomic trying to bump first killer. Chicago will tip this high off the backboard. Chicago, another back pass. First killer racing Atomic to it. He'll bail out. Typical predicting where Atomic was going to go with that ball. And now first killer off the backboard. AJ, the shot saved from JNaps, and now Chicago over to Atomic. Atomic, a quarter of a tank. He'll go right for net. Easy save for first killer.
Close here so far for FaZe, trying to keep that magic going. Here's Typical, first touch, another demo comes out from first killer. Removing those G2 players. Another demo now from AJ, looking for another bump, but Atomic backs off. Smart play there from Atomic. He knew that he had to get a touch there. He couldn't afford the bump. With how physical FaZe is, you could see the gaps that they created. That's now first killer once again, wants to pass over to Typical.
Another demo.
Backboard. It's free for him. Atomic's got low boost. He tried the in and out save. Chicago on the backboard. Gonna save G2 and they get out.
JNaps, you even saw him having to dodge that demo attempt. So many demos coming out in favor of FaZe. G2 under immense pressure. That pinch wrapping around. Typical looking for another bump on the backboard. A corner boost steal. The center ball, nobody there. Chance now for G2 to get some breathing room.
And it really is an interesting type of pressure that G2's feeling right now. It's a physical one. You're seeing another demo now from first killer. JNaps though, flip reset, second touch. As AJ does get a piece of it. Great read from here. Typical tough save. He won't make it. Atomic direct into the net. And G2 take the lead.
Typical sitting in net with 91 boost, waiting for this shot, but he was surprised by how much power it had. I don't think he was expecting Atomic to just blast it on net like that. It looked like he was more ready to defend the backboard.
It looked like he was either playing a pass or the backboard. He kind of crept out straight with the net instead of covering that near post. That's what cost them positioning on the shot. So for FaZe now, or for G2 rather, this is a great rebuttal to the last game to at least put one away. That one went high. Chicago, the shooter here, he's going to drop it below first killer, and G2 double up.
And this is another situation where G2 makes a nice read on the defense. Chicago seeing first killer start to do the wraparound save, and the low shot perfectly placed. Chicago getting that bounce back goal again for G2, who got smoked. Or in game 3, they got smoked game 2. And now G2 finding that offense finally.
Looking to keep it going. And one big thing, as we were mentioning earlier, has been the physical play from FaZe. It hasn't paid off quite yet. The issue is the shots aren't coming when they get the demo, when they get the bumps out. But it is making G2 scramble on defense here as AJ, a little slow there on the flip reset. Chicago will come through. That's a great pass over to first killer. Pass to JNaps, but this one too far. He wanted the angle, wasn't going to find it. Chicago with zero boost gets the clear, and now Atomic all the way to the FaZe side.
Atomic wanting to skip that one closer to the net. Typical air dribble pass. First killer trying to fake out JNaps, but JNaps playing both lines. Chicago. Tip to the sidewall. JNaps with a strong 50. Now, numbers advantage. First killer has to buy time. Light touch will control it on the backboard. Nicely played.
Whoa.
The fake from first killer as well. And he'll punch it even further downfield. First killer buying some critical time there for FaZe.
That one almost pinched off JNaps into the net if they got a little bit more power on it. This one lobbed over Chicago. He got bumped. Still with the touch here. G2 trying to pile on. They back off. FaZe trying to gain possession here. You can see it's tough for them to hold on to it. It's difficult fighting for it on the goal line. Atomic doesn't get the touch I think he wanted. JNaps, he didn't either. Now the pass is typical. It's too high. Follow up from AJ and first killer. He'll put it away. Everyone went from FaZe, but they put it home.
Throwing everything in the kitchen sink included. Typical saw Chicago in net, opted for the backboard pass, and a nice strike from first killer. FaZe clan back within striking distance. 1:14 left on the clock. The game started out physical. FaZe was demoing G2 left and right. G2 able to get a handle of the game. And now FaZe right back into it, Corelli.
I'm really curious what AJ was looking for there. He didn't have a lot of boost when he jumped. I don't know if he was trying to get a shot or a bump. Not that it matters. First killer put it away, and now first killer trying to body block in front of Atomic, but he still makes the save. FaZe, though, threatening here. Another pass across the box. It gets by one on G2, but not JNaps. As G2 now, the comfortable 2-goal lead, does not feel so comfortable now with 44 seconds left.
And that was an interesting play on the goal line. First Killer was looking for a bump. Atomic knew if he was going to drive forward and turn, First Killer would have bumped him. So he throws it in reverse. Now a shot on target, tipped up high. JNaps from behind will be able to break that play up, but now Typical taking control. The air dribble, crossbar down. Somehow Atomic skips that out, and he'll clear it. Atomic, how on earth did you keep that ball out of the net?
He's a wizard. He has been on all the teams he's been on defensively somehow. He's just got a different read on the game as Chicago turns one away here with 4 seconds left. G2 holding on. Demos coming out left and right. Atomic gets 2. 0 second time, a third now for Atomic Demos, and he'll sweep them off.
That shouldn't be possible. That should not be possible. I honestly don't know from a physics perspective how you could get that touch. We have to see that again at some point.
I have no idea how he does it. And that's the crazy part is, that's not the first time we've seen unreal, supernatural saves from Atomic. Like, he does that all the time.
G2 is glad to have him on their team this time around. You remember the 21-game best
I was about to
set.
say, yeah. G2 has felt the pain of Atomic saves before. This time,
my goodness, there it was.
Goodness.
Atomic. I cannot believe my eyes when I see that. I only saw it for a brief moment. Gonna have to go back and check out that clip, certainly after this series is done and dusted. But G2, a great bounce back performance from them in Game 3. Game 2 was all FaZe, and it's particularly all Typical. Typical was unbelievably good in Game 2. Game 3, G2 withstanding the demo pressure and then getting the game back under control. An amazing save from Atomic as well. Atomic, again, having to make a defensive stop. G2 back in the lead in the series.
And, you know, I think people have been critical of Typical in many series this season. I think this is shaping up to be one of his better ones so far. He has contributed in all of these games, and has certainly put on the offense as a shooter here for FaZe. And right now, they're going to need him once again as First Killer and AJ run into each other on the clear. And it does make it to Atomic. Atomic still holding on to this one, still fighting for it. He'll take away the boost from FaZe. As Difficult wants to bring this one all the way across and over Chicago. The cut back. AJ's there, and that's going to be a tough one to put through. Atomic cut it off, and JNaps to collect.
JNaps off the ceiling, forcing the ball downfield. Beautiful tap by AJ. Now the 1-2. Typical almost getting hit. You saw First Killer wanted to fling that right back into him. If Typical makes contact, likely would have been a goal. A bright idea. The execution just missing out. Oh, off the ceiling pass, Chicago. Oh, no. Chicago too fast on that play. The ceiling pass left the lane open.
Yeah, it was a great touch there from Atomic. Yeah, you're right. I think Chicago just went a little too fast there. It was a great play. You know it was communicated, the ceiling pass. Unfortunately, just couldn't get around it. It would have been a great chance there for G2. Chicago now trying to fight for this one. JNaps as well. Now Atomic's going to go. Everyone involved here from G2 off the backboard. JNaps, he'll put it down. G2 on the board first once again.
And it looked like it was another team bump. Typical and AJ bump into each other when AJ's streaking back. AJ not able to get boost. Hopeless situation. That's the second time that we've seen a team bump lead to a goal for G2. FaZe gonna have to watch out for one another on the field, Corelli.
That's not the first time we've had to say that about FaZe 2. We've seen many times them just getting in front of each other, especially defensively. It seems like they figure it out offensively, but here comes JNaps. Can he put this one away? He won't. AJ racing back. Will make the save. FaZe looking for offense here. Typical over to First Killer. Everyone went from G2 and no one came up with a touch.
G2, another close call. Now Atomic air dribble. First Killer touch to the corner. Chicago with the boost steal. And there you see a little bit of a mix-up, but JNaps still able to retain possession. AJ off to the side. Typical to First Killer. First Killer, first touch on the wall. Patience, now an air dribble. It goes wide, but that was some nice control from First Killer, keeping that ball close.
And First Killer also started that play with the demo on the man in the midfield on G2, and that's really what opened up the space for FaZe to move out, as that one comes clean off the backboard. First killer not reading the touch. That one got a pinch into the net. First killer can't get back. JNaps muscles it through the last man, and it finds its way home.
JNaps, first touch hitting the brakes, and then a strong dunk. What do you do about that? JNaps, second goal now for G2, and we've seen this from FaZe at times in series where they just look flat. They have such good offensive performances, and then they get shut out. And G2, they seem to have figured out what FaZe was bringing to the table, and now another unbelievable stop on the goal line from G2.
It's unreal. There is something happening with G2. Something special is protecting their net right now. And
it's
G2,
like angels in the outfield.
Yeah, I was about to make that reference. Something divine. Or maybe it's just atomic. I don't know. Maybe it's doing the same.
Look into the stand, see if an egg is waving his arms.
Yeah, it might be the case. A minute and a half, G2 once again have a 2-goal lead. Very similar to the previous game. Sypical trying to change that. Gets a second flip. What in the world was that? How did that go in for Sypical?
We're gonna have to take another look at this one. Sypical getting behind it, flip reset, flips. It looks like he got a bump.
He bumped him.
It looks like he bumped someone from G2, and then
Atomic.
It was Atomic, and then Atomic ended up bumping Chicago.
Yes. Atomic hit Chicago out of the way. And somehow that one finds its way in, and now FaZe threatening here again. Again, very similar to the previous game. It felt very comfortable for G2. They built up a 2-goal lead at FaZe with just around a minute left. Put one away.
And you know that Sypical was going for that bump, but the fact that the bump ended up causing a team bump, that was crazy.
Right. Just how you draw it up.
Yeah, exactly. Calculated. And now, on the other end, G2 marching downfield. This ball out in front of that for so long. Sypical, a nice read. That could have been another scoring chance for G2. Atomic not giving first killer the chance.
Oh, big clear from AJ, and Sypical's already up. Can he get a second touch? He does, but it's not on target. AJ wants to put it through. He will to tie it up.
And this was such a good double from Sypical. Sypical, you saw him rotating all around.
Wow.
Perfect touch to the backboard, gets the pass out to the middle. And there was a bit of a ping pong on the save, but the power from AJ was a nice flip, getting behind that ball, and FaZe right back into it.
And you wonder if maybe Chicago was just trying to do too much, because JNaps had much more of a squared up hit on that one coming out from the goal line. It won't matter here. The 15 seconds left. What's done is done. That's a great touch from Atomic. First killer, though, read it all the way. 10 seconds left. G2 looking to threaten, but it could be FaZe. If they can hold on to it in the midfield, Atomic's got to go. He does. And maybe it's up to him. 0-second goal. Atomic doesn't connect. JNaps not going to go. As FaZe looking to drop this one down, it'll be JNaps in the end. Overtime.
A rare miss there from Atomic. Had a chance at a 0-second play. As you said, Curly, now overtime. Woo! Overtime almost ending shortly. Chicago towards net, but a brave save from first killer. And now AJ clearing it out. JNaps booms it. Atomic waiting. Atomic back down to JNaps. JNaps off the backboard. Where's Chicago? Chicago now jumping in. Light pass down to Atomic. Atomic with a fake, but AJ doesn't buy it.
Yeah, Chicago is being very patient there as the third man. He stopped Sypical all the way up. Didn't want to take the challenge as the last man, of course. Over 30 seconds here in this overtime phase. They might have their first look. AJ winding up, and it's not strong enough here. Atomic with a monster clear, but he's got 0 boost to follow up. 2 there from FaZe on the sidewall, but they're going to hold on to it.
First killer gets the flip reset, dares someone from G2 to challenge. First killer weaving his way through the defense. Now AJ pinch pass down. JNaps able to get a piece of it. Nice defensive stand from JNaps.
Yeah, I was going to say that one is going to be really pretty from FaZe if they put that one away. But again, defensively, G2 somehow pull it out. And they're going to need it here in overtime. Another chance for them to go. Atomic wanted to, I think, dish that one off. And instead, just didn't get the touch. As now Sypical wants to dribble out. Chicago tries to find over AJ as first killer comes to clean up. Still no chances here from G2 as they lob it over the net. FaZe doing a good job of shutting things down. They're not going to win that challenge on JNaps. Now it gets dangerous as AJ does clear it away.
Lovely stop there from AJ. G2, a threatening attack. AJ with a challenge. JNaps, first touch, trying to get back to it. Kicks off to the side. Atomic, excellent speed, but first killer is able to boom it down to AJ. AJ off the backboard. It bounces down and missed from JNaps. Vulnerable net, but Typical couldn't get a strong touch.
And Atomic just narrowly avoided a bump there. Had he gotten hit, that was an open net. Now Atomic, can he go back the other way? It's too high. Over 2 minutes of overtime, still deadlocked.
Chicago to Atomic, stealing past. JNaps up. First killer beats him to it. To go. AJ, double tap. Atomic, challenged by first killer who beats him, and now gets a touch on the ball again. First killer is everywhere.
He's just so sticky on the ball. He just always gets multiple touches. Now he's got to get some defense. Here's Atomic. He gets in the way. First killer somehow got back and makes the save.
That looked like a kung fu movie. Somehow dodging all the blows. First killer keeping this game alive for FaZe. I don't know how he did it. AJ off the ceiling. Cleared out by first killer. Another effort there. And Chicago booms it up to Atomic. The pre-flip. The shot. AJ. The save. It was going in. But AJ able to keep that ball out.
Some crucial saves here from AJ. 5 saves total. Leading the charge for FaZe. He's turned away some crucial shots.
Now Atomic. And that ball kick out to AJ, who's low on boost. Flip reset doesn't land, but it's now the first killer. AJ didn't get a big scoop, but it ended up being the perfect touch for first killer to take the shot.
Oh my, first killer was just sitting under him the entire time he was in the air, and the second it dropped down, he knew what to do. FaZe battling back. A long overtime here against a very strong defense, and a defense that have really showed off here in this series. But they've stuck it out. It took them 10 shots to break them down, but they come out on top.
That was a slugfest, and we saw a defensive stand from G2 before this game. And this one, FaZe defensively making stop after stop. AJ, like you said, 5 saves. First killer in that hopeless 2v1 situation, managing to keep G2 at bay. And another late comeback. FaZe not scoring their first goal until late in this game. And then you see AJ, and this is something that is so deadly about FaZe, is that solo aerial play ball, especially from AJ. So good mechanically. Everyone on this team, double flip reset in an RLCS game, no problem.
Yeah, right.
And so you have to respect that. And you saw that respect from AJ when he gets that flip reset, ends up not getting much on the ball, but that even just getting flip reset, G2 knowing that AJ has it was enough to where when that ball dropped down, first killer had all the space he needed.
And that's what we talk about with flip resets too, is how dangerous that singular move is, because it gives you so many options. Now, I haven't seen that option in like getting the flip reset and then using the flip but not hitting the ball to drop it down to your teammate. That's really nice. I don't know if they really meant to do that, but first killer having the brains to sit under that play and kind of just put himself in a position to come out with a best case scenario. And that certainly was the best case scenario in that position.
It really was. First killer seemed like he knew exactly what was going on. So intentional or not, it worked out perfectly for FaZe, and we are tied up in the series. 2 games apiece. Typical and first killer thinking about who should take it. Bounces back out. A nice pass on the goal line. AJ staying in the play. He had the vision.
I really like this pass from first killer. 0 boost, but a tough bounce to come out. But he knows he has support to his left side, and he has no boost to really get good power. So it's going to be a pass 100% of the time. And FaZe have done a great job, I think, throughout the season, building up their synergy on offense. They're being a lot more selfless. They're cutting down on the double commits, and I think they're giving themselves the option for plays like that.
And that was where a lot of criticism was coming through, is their ability to utilize one another. And they've been the team that's been doing it in this matchup. Wonderful passing play right there. And now typical solo play off the ceiling. That's shut down AJ. Light first touch, going for the 50. Well done by AJ. Atomic giving up possession. First killer. Taking on Chicago.
Oh, my.
To an air dribble, and JNAPS touch back to the corner. Quick counterattack try here from G2. Oh, just high. Atomic had a nice double tap, and now a double commit from G2.
Oh,
potential numbers advantage. Typical towards net,
angle.
and Chicago was able to get back.
Went for gold there and almost got it. What a touch there from first killer. Now he can drop this one down, or maybe he just scored himself. Why not? He's first killer. Of course he can score from that angle.
First killer. He gets the boost steal, gets the touch, stays behind the ball. Is there anything first killer cannot do?
And you know what? That's why I'm Grand Champ too, James, because I would have passed it there. All right? I would have passed that one. First killer against G2, he'll take it himself and score it.
World class.
And that's why he's here. That's why it's world class.
JNABS. Who needs to flip reset? Who needs to air dribble when you can just demo Corelli? That's the type of gameplay that you love to see.
Poor Typical. He's got all of G2 running at him there. I mean, what do you do, Typical? If you dodge the first one, then the guy with the ball just cuts it back the way you're not going. It's such a tough position. Not to mention JNAPS was on the wing there just in case you went out wide. So you really can't blame Sip. Tough position to be in.
Another demo coming out from G2. We're starting to see some aggression. Is that an adjustment? Will we see more of that from G2? Another demo. This time Chicago taking out first killer. There's a block down. AJ taking it airborne.
That's a boost.
Looks like he might have gotten tapped a bit. Lost the ball. First killer. Nice challenge. JNAPS with only 40 boost. Can't get there in time. Typical drop down to AJ. FaZe are picking G2 apart.
There is some world-class work on the back wall right now being done by FaZe across the board. This time it's a beautiful pass from Typical with no boost, using just a single jump off the back wall to push it out towards his teammate. Brilliantly done, and a 3-1 lead now for FaZe. They have looked good this game.
I can barely land on my wheels. Even just on the sidewall on easy shots. And here you have Typical doing that on the backboard as FaZe continue to score goal after goal. JNAPS wasn't expecting that late touch from AJ. G2 getting smoked in game 5.
And great work there from AJ. I think he was trying to score that one, of course, but the post really helped out. Came right back to his teammates. And a 4-1, like you said, from FaZe. Once again, just blowing them out and looking to be the better team at the moment. FaZe, once again, half a game left to play. Plenty of time for G2 to get back into it, but AJ's going to rip one on target. Of course, it's Atomic on the goal line to make the save.
And another FaZe team passing play. This one off the post. Rebound out. Typical. Typical bodies Atomic. Makes sure there's no shot ongoing.
Oh, surely I thought that was going in for G2, but a brilliant bump from Typical to prevent Atomic to go. And a painful one to not score there for G2. I mean, they had the perfect setup. It's exactly what G2 aims for on offense. And their third man there is so crucial in that play. Typical to bump him out of the way is so smart. And now, Atomic once again wants to threaten. Back post shot is just way too far as G2 tries to get their offense going. But here comes first killer as Atomic makes the save.
Thought it was wide open, but Atomic, nice recovery to get back. Hard shot. Typical couldn't deal with it. A minute 36 left, Corelli. This is not impossible for G2.
No, sir. And that was a great shot. Typical, I guess, just really couldn't get around it. Didn't have a ton of boost there either, but still got the touch and just couldn't turn it away from the net. That's what you get for hitting it with that type of power. That one still went in at 40 miles an hour. And now G2 trying to threaten late here.
First killer taking space. Perhaps taking too much time. G2, a threatening attack. Now another close call. Typical and AJ glancing blows, but not a bad team bump. A big pinch off the side. JNAPS keeping the ball in the FaZe half. Back to the FaZe corner. JNAPS doesn't get much of a touch on the ball. First Killer will get a nice 50 streaking to the ball.
Oh.
And the save from Atomic. First Killer had a look, but Atomic able to get back just in the nick of time.
And a game like this is certainly a game where you're testing the discipline of FaZe. 45 seconds left. G2, they've been threatening, and FaZe have done a great job of responding, going downfield and not overcommitting. They don't have to throw everyone at it, but you certainly don't want to leave Sypical to 2v1. That's an incredible touch from JNaps, and Sypical makes the save.
I didn't expect JNaps to get such a good touch, but still it wasn't enough to get by FaZe. First Killer, what? First Killer reaching deep into the bag of tricks, and a team bump from G2 now. Atomic going for the 50, and that's going to pinch wide. And so FaZe, they passed the test, Corelli, holding up in this last assault that G2 was able to mount.
Almost in style. If First Killer put that one away, that one was going to be incredible. And for G2, you're right. They're a team that will test you. And FaZe right now, like you said, discipline here in this game to close it out. And in a very close series so far, 10 shots between AJ and First Killer. That is an incredible offense between those two.
FaZe Clan, they snapped the 5-series RLCS lose streak that they had against NRG. 4 series in a row they've lost to G2. They snapped it against NRG earlier, and now a chance to snap the lose streak against G2. And we actually have our first Nissan tactical timeout. It's called by G2, Corell.
And I think this is a great idea from G2. You got to cool off FaZe a little bit. I just don't think the normal tricks are working for G2 at the moment. So, kind of having a little brainstorm sesh. I was talking with Sathu actually on First Touch, and we were talking about Atomic. His IQ in Rocket League is just so high. Like, he is such a great player to bounce. Honestly, everyone on G2 is. But when you listen, even as a fan, you can get to hear those G2 comms sometimes. And he's always keeping the boys focused. He's always pointing out the little things, even when things are going right. He's constantly trying to improve his team's play, even when they're winning. And Chicago's also the same way. A great guy to kind of chat and talk about the game, and very open to criticisms and not afraid to tell his teammates what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. And so this team really relies on that type of communication, especially in things like a tactical timeout, to elevate their game.
No doubt, a wise person will always welcome constructive criticism. And it's that type of mentality that it takes to get to this level, to have the amount of success that G2 has had. They've been seemingly unbeatable. They've been getting to the finals through the upper bracket all of the spring split. But here in the Nissan Classic, you wonder if they can do it again. FaZe has been looking deadly offensively. We've seen Sypical pop off, First Killer making plays, AJ the flip reset pass to First Killer. Is this finally the time for FaZe to become the top team in North America?
Well, here's the thing, James. When I said at the beginning of this series, I said FaZe in 25 games have only won 7 against G2 this season. They have now won 3, almost half of what they've done the entire season here. You can see them kind of sit up and get ready. They're going in to a crucial game here for FaZe. We said they've taken down one of their demons in NRG. They're on match point here against another one in G2.
Neo Tokyo. Can FaZe Clan win this here, or will we go to Champions Field? G2, with how good they've been, you'd bet on a game 7, but FaZe Clan, maybe they can elevate their game. Oh, another early chance for G2, but this time doesn't go their way. And now the counterattack is on. Pinch sends it off the ceiling. A demo from FaZe. We've seen FaZe aggressive at times. G2 answering back. An early demo from FaZe doesn't make much of a difference. Now Atomic wrapping around the ball, trying to be unpredictable. AJ blocked out. And Atomic opts to keep that ball in the corner instead of going for the boost steal.
And you can see it kind of threw off FaZe. Nobody challenged him because they all thought he was going to try and get the boost there. And now First Killer wants a second touch. Atomic, he's going to poke it free. Can he get back around to it? He's racing there. The angle's there, but Sypical took it away. And a bump here from Atomic to clear out AJ, but the offense not there for G2 quite yet.
You saw that chess match in that moment. The threaten of the fake, the threaten of the shot, but FaZe Clan defensively, able to make it out of those sticky situations.
What a clear from Atomic. We've seen that since game one. The work he's been able to do on the sidewall has been incredible. To beat the first man, to push it downfield. Here comes one to Chicago. He's not going to go. Typical kind of panicking there. JNaps will follow up. Chicago and Atomic went all the way back here. So some space for Typical as he's floating past it. And sort of flub there from FaZe on the counter.
Typical filling that space, trying to keep G2 back, even though he didn't have the boost to make that play. Chicago, 50, another challenge. Shoots it off to the other side of the field. AJ, a center ball, but no one from FaZe were there.
Would have been a brilliant pass, too. It was going to be a tough shot, so I think the pass was the better play. Unfortunately, no one there. Now Chicago looking for the bump. It comes across the net. Both JNaps and Atomic very patient on their approach there. So I don't want to give away any free challenges as this one's popped up by Chicago. Looking for options. Denied by Typical.
We're already approaching the halfway point. This game going by in the blink of an eye, still scoreless. Typical got the corner boost, but not the best touch.
Uh-oh.
The shot is off target. Atomic doesn't hit it. That was a gift-wrapped ball.
Yeah, that's the one. And it could be the game changer here. That's the one that G2's got to put away. Maybe another chance as that one's going to be thrown to the FaZe side. And FaZe really haven't generated a lot of offense here. One shot to their name. It was from AJ. Other than that, it's been a lot of G2 just kind of in the trenches with FaZe on their own side as Typical's got to turn this one away. And with 2 minutes left, still scoreless.
JNaps can't beat out First Killer. Atomic staying on the play. Gets a piece of it. Chicago backflipped, but it put him in position. First Killer tip up. JNaps the shot.
Too high.
It's high and wide.
Still, G2 keeping the pressure on. Chicago eventually losing that one. A couple of shots now, James. We've called it out. Just not on target, whether it's high, whether it's wide. And G2, the only team right now that's getting good looks, but maybe FaZe comes. AJ, can he get one through? He will. Chicago can't get the challenge, and FaZe in the lead.
And that was disastrous from G2. A double commit Chicago and JNaps. Chicago awkward on the backboard. It was Atomic and JNaps who doubled. And a hopeless situation. G2 goes from having an open look on net to now giving up that goal late. FaZe, they might be able to do it, Corelli.
Just a minute and a half away from qualifying for London. They've gone through some tough teams. G2 would be their toughest, of course. And again, discipline is tested here with just over a minute left. G2's been threatening. Oh my, a blunder defensively from FaZe. Nobody comes up with the touch. How does that go in?
First Killer, he picked up one pad and it looked like AJ jumping up for it, threw him off. AJ bailed out. First Killer bailed out, didn't have the boost. And that is gonna sting for FaZe.
And I guess they're just happy that they sit tied now with a minute to go. This one over to AJ. FaZe looking to get one back now after giving one away. Typical wants to pop it up. Atomic read him all the way. And still Atomic on the ball will be denied by First Killer.
Chicago, full boost. First Killer off the ceiling, preventing the hit downfield, but Atomic lobs it right back. Broken up by AJ. JNaps out to the corner. First Killer trying to get a solo play. It goes out to Typical. JNaps denying the backboard. High pass. First Killer back off the ceiling. The shot. Blocked by First Killer. First Killer blocked the shot that looked like it was going in.
And that was such a brilliant pass as well. They did everything right. Their own worst enemy here in this game, but maybe one more chance. Typical. Can he make the difference? JNaps to deny. Chicago's going to keep it up. JNaps going to throw it downfield. This one's going to find the back wall. First Killer gets a touch. Here comes JNaps. It's still floating. First Killer somehow clears it away. Is AJ going to keep it up? He will. First Killer looking to the G2 corner. JNaps got back, and First Killer finally going to put this one down.
Overtime in a game that you thought FaZe had in the bag. You thought that London was theirs. But G2 put their foot in the door. And JNaps now with low boost, leading the charge, gets the corner boost steal in front of AJ and gets the demo. Atomic getting around the ball, wanted to get the mid boost. Chicago to Atomic, low boost shot. Whoa. It's high, rebound out. JNaps, corner. We're going to game 7.
He's got the ice. And everyone getting involved from G2. A perfectly placed shot over the shoulder. Typical couldn't get up to it. G2 stay alive. It's a game 7.
I thought this was over, Corelli. This game was an anomaly. For FaZe, that play, AJ and First Killer both going for the same ball. First Killer low on boost. Made an awkward situation in a head scratcher of a concede, and then G2 winning in overtime. JNaps the shot. G2 struggling a bit with their shooting, being accurate, but JNaps, when it really mattered, was able to pull it off, and now we're going to game 7.
I really don't know what to make of this series so far, because I honestly think FaZe has had a fantastic series here. This game, though, was one of those games that I guess I'd sort of been hinting at where, when are the mistakes going to come out from FaZe? When are they going to start? They kind of choked that game. All right, let's be honest. That one
you're not blunting anything, are you, Corell?
No, I'm not, and I'm just being honest here. And they have one more chance here. I'm surprised actually they're not taking a timeout. I know I would definitely take a timeout and just kind of regroup after that game, because not only did they let in a weak goal, but they also blocked one of their own shots that would have also put them in the lead. So a painful series, I think, for FaZe, where I think it's generally been good from them, but this particular game, this one got out of their hands. We should not be here.
And that one particular play, and then also thinking back, there was that passing play as well that First Killer got in the way. So that was heartbreak. And Corelli, it's time. Game 7, presented by Nissan here on Champions Field. A chance for FaZe to secure their bid at London, or will they crumble in the home stretch?
And regardless, I think for FaZe, they have looked better than G2 in many of these games so far. And I think that's a great thing for FaZe. They just got to do it one more time. They have everything to lose here at the moment. I mean, G2's already qualified. Of course, FaZe wants to qualify as soon as they possibly can. That's a great flick from Atomic. JNaps has a wide open net, and G2 in the lead first.
You said it, a wide open net. Atomic, that touch beating out the defender, not only making sure the defense doesn't get a piece of it on the challenge, but to set up the counter-attacking goal. That is a punch to the gut for FaZe Clan. G2, they've got the ice, but First Killer, he beat Chicago out. You saw Chicago streaking back. You thought he had a chance, but this is a masterful shot and a huge goal. FaZe Clan needed that.
How did Typical win that one so hard? He went through 2 players to win that challenge, and of course, his teammate and First Killer there to follow him up. Still only 30 seconds into this game, and good from FaZe here to respond. You certainly don't want this one to get away from you.
Chicago to the sidewall. First Killer staying in the play. Chicago hitting this across field. Atomic to JNaps. JNaps, great speed. First Killer trying to get it downfield, but Chicago in the way. Right back down to AJ. First Killer in the middle to Typical. Typical, hard hit. Going for the arc, but Atomic able to get that pass right down. You're seeing how quickly both teams can do a counterattack in a split second.
Pace of play very high here. Everyone giving it their all. Now First Killer taking on all of G2. Nobody fooled by the mind game this time. JNaps, dangerous ball, but AJ saw it all the way on the second touch. Now First Killer, does he want it himself? A flip reset. It's a pass to Typical, and this time it's deflected again. I think Atomic got a piece of it as well. And for FaZe, beautiful passes across the box and just can't convert.
And you can't really blame First Killer. The ball's getting hit into him.
Yeah.
Oh, poor First Killer. That does have to be tilting.
And I mean, he's setting these things up too. I mean,
they're great setups.
Fantastic
Those passes were miraculous.
And it's got to be painful for him and for the team to have these types of looks and not to put him away.
Low boost for Sypical. Sypical just had to watch that ball sail by. Chicago catching it on the wall. JNaps with a demo. The challenge from Chicago. Rebound out to Atomic. Off the ceiling and down. Awkward ball, 2 go. Chicago hunting for the demo on AJ. Doesn't connect. But FaZe on their back foot. There's a demo on 1. Launched across the field. Chicago couldn't stay under control and has to go all the way back for boost.
Ooh. Still works out here for G2. I don't know if that's the touch that Chicago wanted, but very nicely done. And very smart from them to bring that one back. The first killer working his magic in the midfield. AJ streaking up to the sky. So he takes it to the backboard, and that one will pitch off him back to the midfield line. First killer has to respond as G2 looking for that go-ahead goal. Atomic off the back wall, and JNaps again, very conservative on the approach. Letting FaZe just throw it downfield.
Critical demo by JNaps on first killer. Opens up the midfield for Atomic. Atomic flip reset dunk. Pinches out to the side. First killer. Soft touch down to the ground. Hard off the G2 corner. And JNaps trying to keep this ball out of the midfield. 2 players miss for G2. Atomic waiting in net.
Whoa.
Chicago with a huge save.
Shocking power coming out from Sypical when he was in traffic. He had players around him. And yet still a quality shot coming out from him and a big save. Now Sypical again, threatening with a flip reset. AJ win as well. It's just first killer back. He's got to buy time and a wonderful challenge here as Sypical gets to the goal line and FaZe gets set.
Really, first killer blocking shots on both nets quite a bit this series. That was a tough defensive situation for first killer. Comes out on top yet again, this time defending his own net. Final minute, first killer doesn't make contact. AJ light tap to the middle.
Okay.
Typical low shot, and it's no good.
Just no boost. And now
AJ
shot from AJ.
Shot.
Oh my, another one off the ceiling. 2 go. Actually, everyone jumped at that one from G2. And yet still, FaZe can't break through. Sypical looking for one over the top. Atomic there, last man left. First killer trying to muscle it home. A follow-up shot will go through. 32 seconds left on the clock, and FaZe take the lead.
And Sypical, this was such a key play from him. First killer, the intelligence to go for the 50. You saw him using the bottom of his car, trying to finesse that ball pass, be able to get back under control. First killer with a redemption play. And now 30 seconds, all that separate FaZe Clan from their trip to London.
G2 might only have 1 or 2 more looks here. JNaps chasing players on the goal line. Atomic gets it through 1. A beautiful touch. Chicago denied. JNaps got to do something with it here, and Sypical dives at him. First killer with the clear out. And G2, it's their last chance. Chicago. They'll find Atomic. JNaps will go now. Sypical can't get there. Chicago second touch isn't there. FaZe Clan take them down in 7.
A wild ride, but in the end, FaZe Clan, they secure their spot at the London Major, and G2 will be going down into the lower bracket, a place they have not been in quite some time.
Wow. You can see, that might have been a smile from AJ there. I don't know. I think he could be a little happy. Could be a little happy about this one. As, you saw the tweets he had yesterday.
He cursed them.
He cursed G2. He certainly did.
It worked.
And it certainly worked out here. And, of course, very happy in his position here for FaZe. Just overall, a win over G2. Wow. What a day for FaZe. And they've secured their spot in London comfortably here. And for FaZe, I think, something to smile about if you're AJ.
No doubt. And Sypical having a great series. A couple games in particular where Sypical was that difference. But first killer playing phenomenally well throughout. Obviously, a couple of those hits, you can't really control where his teammates are shooting.
Yeah.
You do want to try to leave the net open as much as possible for your teammates. But first killer, great play, especially at the end with that 50, getting that go-ahead goal. And FaZe Clan secure their spot. We will be seeing them play at the London Majors. So congrats to them. Corelli, we're going to go to a quick break, but when we come back, more RLCS.